poor grandmother sold bananas by the road. When soldiers stole her cart, she sang a song in a dead language and an army general came running. The sun hung like a burning coal over the dirt road at the foot of Mount Elgon. The air shimmered in the heat, the edges of distant cornfields glowing white, as if the EARTH itself was peeling. Grandma Ameirla, 78 years old, crouched beside her wooden pushcart, wiping dust off banana leaves with a faded blue cloth. Her knuckles were swollen, her hands cracked like dry riverbeds, yet her touch was gentle, like smoothing a grandchild's forehead. The cart was her husband's handiwork from 30 years ago, wheels made from old tractor tires, the wood weathered by years of rain and sun. On it, 30 bunches of bananas, green-yellow, reefily tied with grass rope, still damp with morning dew. She'd picked them herself from the small plot behind her hut. This was her only hope, seldom, by medicine. For her grandson. Amos had been feverish for 4 days. The village nurse said it was malaria, but the medicine was gone. Ameirla had searched every corner of her hut, only 2 crumpled Kenyan shilling coins. She knew the town pharmacy wouldn't give credit to an old woman. Grandma, come rest under the tree, Lila, her 12-year-old granddaughter, called, holding up a tattered umbrella. The girl was thin as a reed, but her eyes shone bright. Ameirla shook her head. Not yet. More people will come when the sun's higher. We must sell before noon. She squinted at the sky, blinding blue, not a cloud. This road usually buzzed with trucks, motorcycles, farmers walking to market. But today almost empty. Maybe because of the drought. Maybe because of the bandits, people were taking other paths now. Then engines ROA red. 3 beat-up Melita green motorcycles tore through the dust, tires kicking up yellow clouds. 3 young men jumped off, we rang. Faded camo, rifles slung over their shoulders, plastic local patrol badges dangling from their necks. They moved like hawks eyeing mice. Ameirla's stomach dropped. She knew them. The village chief had warned these were some officials' distant cousins, keeping order by bullying small traders. Move, old woman. The tallest one kicked her straw hat aside. The cart creaked as he shoved it. This is my spot. Ameirla's voice trembled, her grip tightening on the handles. Your spot, where's your permit? He smirked. This road's public. We're commandeering it for patrol duty. But I've sold here 20 years, another laughed. 20 years ago, this was a dirt ditch. Times change. Before she could react, all 3 grabbed the cart and flipped it. Wood cracked. Bananas tumbled, some splitting on rocks, others crushed under boots, pulp mixing with dirt. No. Ameirla lunged, but a rough shove sent her sprawling. We're taking this, the tall one said, grinding a banana under his boot. For the Gua RD post. Lila screamed, that's OURS. Shut it, brat. He raised his rifle but. The girl flinched, but Ameirla yanked her back, shielding her. Kneeling in the dirt, Ameirla sta read at the ruin. Those bananas picked before dawn, washed with well water, her hope for Amos fever, now trampled. She stood slowly. Not angry. Not pleading. Just, calm. Deep, unsettling calm. Dusting her knees, she locked eyes with the men. You, she said in Swahili, voice low but clear, will regret this. They howled with laughter. The hags cursing us. Ameirla turned away. Facing Mount Elgon, she closed her eyes, breathed deep, then began to sing. The sound wasn't human. It was wind through caves. Night birds calling. The EARTH itself humming. The words Ekoro, an ancient Luo dialect Nearly extinct, clicked and rolled like rain on dry leaves. Like ancestors whispering. It was the lament of the EARTH mother, the last song her own mother taught her. Roughly, you crush my fruit, yet I fed you. You steal my voice, yet I call the mountain spirits. The song wasn't loud, but it cut through the noon heat. Pedestrians froze. Dogs stopped barking. Even the wind seemed to pause. The patrolman stiffened. Is this witch casting spells? Let's go, bad luck. They scrambled onto their bikes, fleeing so fast they forgot the broken cart. Ameirla finished singing, knelt, and picked up one unbroken banana, tucking it into her pocket. Taking Lila's hand, she walked Tawa RD the village. No one saw the old hunter on the mountain miles away, his ears half-deaf, yet jolting upright when the song reached him. TRS streaked his weathered face. Ekuru. I thought it was gone, or the professor in Nairobi, jerking awake to static on his shortwave radio. His hands shook as he adjusted the dial. That melody, the summoning song. Whose? Singing this, he grabbed a yellowed notebook, flipping to a page marked 1963, last fluid Ekuru speaker, Emeirtha Wang Yu. Snatching his phone, he gasped, book me a flight to Elgon. Now. The sun still burned. Emeirtha's figure grew smaller down the road, bent but unbroken. She didn't know it yet. But her forgotten song had already woken sleeping memories. A storm was brewing, from just one old woman's voice. The song didn't fade with Emeirtha's footsteps in the dust. Like a seed caught in the wind, it floated over cracked cornfields, skimmed dry riverbeds, climbed the slopes of Mount Elgon, and slipped into crevices, finally landing in the ears of some very unexpected people. 12-year-old Kian, deaf since birth, crouched near a hidden cave, sketching with a red stick on a flat stone. He couldn't but he'd learned to see sound, through wind currents, trembling leaves, vibrations in the earth. Just now, while gathering bitterroot herbs, he'd felt a strange pulse underfoot. Not footsteps. Not thunder. A rhythm like a heartbeat. He pressed his ear to the rock. The vibrations write something new, sharp clicks like raindrops on banana leaves, deep hums like night streams, high notes like circling eagles. Eyes shut, his fingers flew across the stone. 3 dots for clicks, a wavy line for long tones, and a row for high pitch, his own sound map. He didn't know it was a song, only that it burned in his chest like a hand on his shoulder saying, you exist. You're not alone. Refully, he tucked the stone into his basket. The village healer had once signed, some sounds are signposts from ancestors. In a cluttered appartement, Professor Daniel Mwara jerked upright as his crackling shortwave radio picked up a local station's test signal as ZZZ. Unidentified audio from Elgon region, ZZZ, then a voice. A melody. Daniel's glasses slid down his nose. He RT pounding. He fine-tuned the dial. Those clicks. That rising cadence. Impossible, he whispered. The lament of the EARTH mother, in Ekuru fumbling, he dug out a 1963 field recording. 2 voices, one young, one old, separated by 60 years, yet perfectly matched. Emeirtha's alive, still speaking Ekuru. He yanked open a suitcase, stuffing in recorders and notebooks. Roads were blocked by landslides, but he didn't see Emeirtha. He told the mirror, I owe your language its name back. General Ogundo froze as the classified audio played. Not just a song, not a lullaby. His mother's 30 years vanished in an instant, her ARMS around him, humming in that witch tongue that got her exiled. Trace the singer, he ordered, voice rough. I want her found. At dusk, the village chief came warning, Auntie, Patrolman Ari calling you a witch. They want an apology. Emeirtha didn't look up from feeding Amos his medicine. I sang an ancestor's song. Nothing more. But hunters claim they RD spirits. People SCA read. Of what she met his eyes. A widow too poor to buy malaria pills. When he left, granddaughter Lila pulled out a cracked SMA phone. Grandma, can I record you just one song? Emeirtha sang The Little Banana Tree, a children's rhyme about plants. Lila uploaded it to East African Voices Forum with a caption, My grandma speaks a forgotten language. Today bad men stole her bananas, so she sang this. Shouldn't someone remember she hit send? At 6 a.m., the sky was just lightning when the UNMA black SUV rolled out of the military compound. In the backseat, General Ogundo sat with his eyes closed, headphones replaying Emeirtha's song on loop. He'd been listening all night. His aide, Abi, stole glances in the rearview mirror. He'd never seen the general like this, usually so composed, now tense, fingers tapping his knee as if keeping time with some distant rhythm. Sir, are we really driving west? For an old woman's song, Abi ventured. Intelligence says she might be stirring ethnic tensions. Shouldn't we handle it first? Ogundo's eyes snapped open. You know how they handled my mother, same word. Abi fell silent. Ogundo looked out at the passing streets. The song had dragged him back 50 years. 5 year old Ogundo lived in no village at the foot of Mount Elgon. His father was dead, his mother, Asha, was the last fluent speaker of Ekuru. She wasn't a witch doctor, just a woman who knew which herbs cured fever, which leaves stopped bleeding, all coded in Ekuru songs. Kids loved her ant-moving song, her honeybee tune. The first phrase she taught him wasn't hello but took him bo, do you remember? Then the missionaries came. Devil's tongue, they called Ekuru. His uncle, currying favor, accused Asha of witchcraft. One rainy night, torches surrounded their hut. Burn her herbs. Drive her out. Asha held him close, singing the lament of the Earth mother, the same song Emayra now sang. They crush the fruit, forgetting who fed them, they steal the voice, not knowing the mountain listens, no one read. She was banished, died on the trail 3 days later. Her last words, don't forget my song. He was raised by his uncle, sent to missionary school. Your mother was mad. Her language was trash. He learned Swahili, then English, buried his past, rose through the military ranks. But the song haunted his dreams. Until yesterday. General, landslide ahead. Roads gone. The SUV halted before a wall of mud and rock. 20 kilometers still to Emayra's village. Find another route. That's 50 extra kilometers through militia territory, then we walk. Ogundo shoved the door open. Abi gaped. You're a general. This is reckless. Not today. Ogundo stripped off his uniform jacket. Pulled on an old shirt. Today, I'm just a son who never heard his mother's last words. He shouldered a pack and sta route up the trail. His car had died hours ago. No signal. Just heat and dust. An old farmer on a donkey passed by. Which way to no village? Daniel asked. You here for the singing granny? The farmer spat. That's trouble. Patrolman wrecked her banana cart yesterday, so she sang that ghost song. Now they call her a witch. Not ghosts, Daniel said. Shah rply. Ekuru. Your ancestors' wisdom. Wisdom. The farmer laughed. Kids want jobs in Nairobi, not dead words. Daniel walked on, heart heavy. He'd seen this before, languages vanishing under the boot of progress. Ogundo reached the village outskirts at dawn. He hid in an abandoned cowshed, listening. Children's laughter. Peering out, he saw a dozen kids under a banana tree. A girl, Lila, was teaching them hand signs. Say tukumbo, she chirped. Tukambo. They mimicked. Yes. It means, do you remember? Ogundo's breath caught. Tukumbo. Did he remember? He stepped from the shadows. Mbo tuka. I remember. The kids gasped. Lila spun, Wari, who are you? Someone who forgot the way home. Then engines SNA led. The patrolman rolled in, kicking over stools. Teaching which tricks again. Lila stood her ground. My grandma says language isn't magic, it's our roots. Roots, the leader sneered. Old woman's roots should rot. Ogundo moved. Who authorized you, his voice like iron, to terrorize children? The men laughed until Daniel's car arrived, and the professor blurted, General Ogundo. The patrolmen paled, dropped to their knees. Yes, sir. We didn't. Ogundo ignored them. To Lila, softly, would your grandmother sing for me? Wind stirred the banana leaves as Emayla emerged, frail but straight-backed. She saw the general, the professor, the trembling patrolman. Then she sang not just the lament this time, but the ant-moving song, the honeybee tune, all the rhymes she'd kept alive 60 years in secret. Ogundo sank to his knees, TRSCA arving pats through dust. Daniel recorded every note. Even the patrolman stayed silent. And Lila, she grinned, whispering to the youngest child, sea roots don't rot. They grow. The morning mist clung to no village as roosters crowed lazily and king smoke drifted into the pale sky. Grandma Emayla knelt by her small clay stove, lighting a fire with dry grass to boil corn porridge. Her hands moved slowly, joints aching in the CL air, but her face was calm. Last night, she'd dreamed of her mother, standing in the banana grove, smiling, humming the little banana tree. Grandma, is the general really coming? Lila burst out of the hut, eyes bright. The professor says he's a big man. Emayra looked up. Dust swirled at the village entrance, a few military vehicles and a beat-up sedan rolling in. She blew out the fire, stood, and dusted her apron. So what if he comes? I still have bananas to sell. She was afraid. Terrified. But silence SCA read her more. 60 years ago, when her mother was driven out, the village stayed silent. 30 years ago, when her husband disappeared protesting land grabs, neighbors stayed silent. Now, with Amos sick and her cart stolen, if she stayed silent, who would speak for the poor? The village erupted. The general's here. For that old woman, God help us, the patrolman a redone for. But she sings witch songs. Won't this bring trouble on us all? Rumors spread like wildfire. Shiferu paced his yard, his wife pleading, stay out of it. This is beyond us. Stay out, our livelihoods depend on that road. Aru fretted. The patrolman answered to the district officer. If the general humiliates them, who do you think will suffer us? He remembered last year. When a Nearby village reported corruption, their water got cut off for 3 months. When the powerful clashed, the little people paid. Under the old banyan tree, a group of young men smoked. They were the village's few high school graduates, dreaming of city life, scoffing at backward traditions. Ikuru belongs in a museum, one in a baseball cap sneered, blowing smoke rings. Who speaks that crap anymore? Leah RN English, get a job in Nairobi, ERN$RS. Another nodded. That old hag's causing trouble. Getting the patrolman punished, so selfish. He wrote her granddaughters Leah running it too. A third laughed. That girl's brains fried. Hoodma rry her. They didn't see Lila crouched in the cornfield, gripping her phone, recording every word. She didn't cry. Just turned and walked toward the hill where Grandma said ancestors speak. Pastor Joseph Prepper read for morning prayers. In his 40s, a Nairobi seminary graduate, he was the village's most respected educated man. He preached only Christ saves Africa, calling traditional beliefs ignorant relics. His assistant hesitated. Pastor, people say the song woke something in the general. Some call it a miracle. Joseph scoffed. Miracle? It's deception. God speaks Hebrew, Greek, not some clicking tongue. He opened his Bible, reading loudly, do not conform to this world, but be transformed. Old languages, old ways, they block the path to God. But then he paused. Last night, he dreamed of his mother singing a lullaby in their lost dialect. Warm familiar. He hadn't visited home in 10 years, missed her funeral for church duties. He shut the Bible, whispering, do I even remember that song? Outside the village, General Ogundo and Professor Daniel talked in the abandoned shed. You'll publicly back her? Daniel worried. You're a general. If you're tied to ethnic revival, your rivals will call it division. Ogundo watched the mountains. I didn't climb this high to keep pretending I don't exist. My mother was driven out as a madwoman. I survived by denying her. Now I hear her voice through another woman's throat. If I don't stand now, I'm mad one. Daniel's eyes glistened. Irva's the last fluent speaker. If she goes, Ikuru dies. Then we bring it back, Ogundo said firmly. Sta rooting today, I'm not just a general. I'm Ikuru's child. Meira spread an old cloth in the dusty clear ring, laying out salvaged bananas washed clean of mud, dried overnight. Shiferu rushed over. Irva. Pack up. The general's holding an investigation at the council hall. Don't stir trouble. Selling bananas is trouble, don't you get it? The patrol leader's the district officer's brother-in-law. If the general shames them, they'll cut our road, our water, our aid. Will Sta Irv. Imeira looked up. Aru, remember when your son had that fever at 3? Who saved him? Aru froze. My mother. She sang the remedy in Ikuru, taught me the herbs. Now you ask me to stay silent, to not even speak. Aru walked away, head down. Villagers crowded outside the council hall as the 3 patrolmen knelt inside, silent. The district officer, face purple, argued, they were enforcing regulations. Illegal vending. What's the crime? General Ogundo stood. Illegal, she sold here 20 years. Did you ever tax her enforcing by crushing an old woman's livelihood? Professor Daniel played a recording. This is Ekuru, Kenya's cultural heritage. Emayervas no witch. She's a living library. You didn't steal a cart. You stole a people's memory. Murmurs spread. So the song is heritage. My grandfather knew words like that. We always laughed. Then Lila burst in, waving her phone. General. Professor. They're mocking grandma at the SQUA. Ogundo stormed out. At the SQUA. Emayerva sat alone as young men jeered. Look, the witch still selling rotten bananas. Think you're special cause the general came pathetic. Ogundo walked up, bent down, and picked up a banana. He pulled out his wallet, handing her a bill. Grandmother, I'll take one. Emayerva took the money, whispering, thank you. Ogundo peeled the banana, took a bite, in full view of everyone. Delicious, he said. Tastes like the land. Like memory. Silence. The patrolman wept on their knees. Chief Eru hung his head. Pastor Joseph, unnoticed in the crowd, clutched a notebook, his mother's lullaby, secretly copied. The wind stirred again. Emayerva hummed softly in Ekuru, Kulambombo Toka. Do you remember? I remember. This time, no one laughed. Some even felt their throats tighten. Because suddenly, they knew they'd forgotten too much. The village woke an hour early that morning. The roosters hadn't even finished crowing when crowds gathered at the entrance, not for market day, but to gawk at the general talking to the banana granny. News had spread like wildfire. General Ogundo himself had stood up for an old fruit seller, even ate her banana. Stranger still, some famous professor was now camped at the council hall, ranting about saving a dying language. Emayerva knew none of this. She'd risen before dawn, sorting the last of her bananas, ready to try again. After the patrolman wrecked her cart, the village carpenter had secretly built her a new one, planks from an old door, log rounds for wheels. It creaked like a song when she pushed it. Grandma, I'm coming to town with you today, Lila said, slinging her school bag over her shoulder. Inside, hidden under notebooks, were her recorder and a handmade Ekuru word book. Emayerva patted her head. You have school. Holiday today, Lila lied smoothly. Teacher said, we should listen to the important meeting. She winked. Emayerva smiled. She didn't know what important meeting meant. She just knew, if these bananas didn't sell, Amos medicine would run out again. Down the dirt road, trouble was brewing. The district officer had raced back to town last night, breathlessly reporting to the fat, sweaty district chief, the general's protecting that hag. Threatening investigations. If this keeps up, our land development project will get exposed. The chief sipped his iced soda, smirked. An old crone, a retired professor, and a showboating general. He dialed a number. Activate Plan B. Professor Daniel had decided to appeal to the Education Bureau for emergency funds. Official recognition might shield Emayerva. He hired a rickety matachibus, crammed with villagers heading to Marquette. The vehicle lurched over potholes like a tin can about to burst. Then rain. Torrential. The road became a mud river. A landslide ROA read down, boulders sealing the path. We're trapped, passengers wailed. Daniel Sta read at the buried road, despairing. No road meant no funds, no protection for Emayerva. Then, a tap on his shoulder. Kian, the deaf boy, held up his sound drawings. A hidden mountain trail. Marquette ancestors' path. Daniel nodded. They set off. For 3 days, they waded rivers, scaled cliffs. Daniel's knees swelled. Kian, silent as a shadow, steadied him. At a herb gatherer's hut, the old woman handed Daniel leaves for aching joints. Emayerva taught her, Kian signed. Daniel's eyes burned. Emayerva's wisdom had spread further than anyone knew. Finally reaching town, Daniel limped straight to the Education Bureau. The Which Language Project, the clerk snorted. No budget. Daniel slammed his recorder on the desk, playing Emayerva's song. The bureau chief paused mid-sip. My grandma hummed that. It's not just a song, Daniel said hoarsely. It's Kenya's roots. Will you let them rot? The chief sighed. I'll file it. Don't expect much. General Ogundo went undercover, straw hat, worn boots, posing as a visiting veteran.
He needed proof of the patrolman's corruption. An old FA mayor recognized him, whispered, "The chief uses patrolmen like attack dogs." Last month, Old Accounts Orchestra ARD got seized. His son protested CAR accident next day. Evidence, who keeps evidence, but everyone knows. The man leaned closer. The chief's ledger is hidden in his mistress Ricejaw are passwords his daughter's birthday. That night, Ogundo broke into the mistress road. The ledger was real, detailing bribes, kickbacks, even Mayor's CART 200 shillings, Gua RD Post Lumber. Worse, a contract selling 10 villages to foreign resort developers. Ogundo photographed every page. Back in no, the chief's men spread lies of the general wants your land. Milita rebase. Evictions. Mayor's a spy. Her songs are re-signals. Fay are spread. Villagers. Turned on Mayorla, you brought this. We'll lose our homes. Chief Ru begged her, just apologize. Take your CART back. Let this die. Mayorla peeled a banana, calm. Apologize for what? Selling fruit, singing old songs, people resca read. Of what? The truth. She pointed to the mountains. Remember the drought, who found the famine? Yams your mother, singing the roots beneath an ekuru. Now you call it song. A curse. Ru had no answer. That night, someone torched Mayorla's fence. As flames lit the sky, Mayorla took out her mother's bone flute, played a Shah RP, bird-like tune. The call for help, she told Lila. As long as someone remembers this sound, we're not alone. The rain stopped. The road stayed blocked. The chief laughed in his office. The villagers lay awake, terrified. But unseen, people moved, a professor, clutching herbs and hope, Tawa RD one last chance. A general, evidence in hand, waiting for daylight. An old woman, by the ashes, playing an ancestor's tune. Two paths would meet. And the truth no landslide could bury forever. The morning air in no village still smelled of smoke from last night's fire. The chai-red remains of Grandma Mayor's fence stood like blackened teeth against the gray light. She sat on her doorstep, running her fingers over the spiral carvings of her mother's antelope bone flute, the last thing she had left of her. Lila, eyes red from crying, whispered, "Grandma, will they come back?" Mayorva didn't answer. Instead, she lifted the flute to her lips and played a soft, quick melody, morning kalanakuru, meaning we are still here. Then footsteps. Not the roar of motorcycles, but the steady thud of boots. Three figures emerged from the mist, Professor Daniel Mwala, leaning on Kian the deaf boy, and behind them, General Ogundo in plainclothes, rying Mayorva's stolen banana CART on his shoulder. Mayorva stood slowly. Mayorva won you. Daniel's voice shook. It's me, Daniel. The summer of 1963, in Elgon, you taught me Akuru. Do you remember? She studied his wrinkled face, and suddenly, she did the young white Cholayer with his tape recorder, scribbling notes as she spoke. Tukumbo, Mwalala, she murmured. I remember, Mwala. Daniel Nearly wept. 60 ya rs. He'd found her at last. He turned to Kian. This boy brought me through the mountains with his sound drawings. He can't hear, but he heard our song. Then to Ogundo, and this man, your voice woke his mother's memory. The general stepped forward, gently setting the CART before her. Grandmother. Your CART is returned. Mayorla touched the freshly painted wood, the mended wheels, the red cloth tied to the handle, like a promise. Thank you, she whispered. Villagers crowded outside the council hall as Mayorla, Daniel, and Ogundo sat at a wooden table, evidence spread before them, ledgers. Recordings, photos. Daniel spoke first in Swahili. Akuru isn't witchcraft. It's Kenya's living heritage, medicines, Mang, weather signs, all hidden in these songs. UNESCO calls such tongues world treasures. Someone scoffed, treasure, can we eat it? Yes, Daniel fired back. Germany pays elders to teach old words. Tourists flock to hear them. Mayorva's bananas could be a cultural brand. Eyes widened. Ogundo then revealed the district chief's crimes, land grabs, bribes, the patrolmen as his thugs. Photos proved it. Milita police coming. By sunset, he'll be arrested. The patrolman wailed, we had no choice. Village chief Eru hung his head in shame. Then, shouting outside. The district chief stormed in with armed men, clubs in hand. Who dare touch my people? He gla read at Mayorla. Your general can't save you now.
Ogundo rose, removed his hat, revealing his rank insignia. The chief's face drained of blood. You're under arrest, Ogundo said coldly. As police dragged him away, the chief screamed, Ikuru's dead.
No one remembers.
Mayurla walked to the center of the sqa, lifted her flute, and played the lament of the EARTH mother. The notes cut through the chaos, silencing even the sirens. Everyone froze. Even the chief turned, sta ring at the small, unbent woman. By evening, villagers gathered around a bonfire. Daniel played his 1963 recording, Young Mayurla singing Banana Tree Love. Her present voice joined the past. Lila hummed along. Kian signed the melody, making children giggle. Chief Eru, flushed, mumbled, Botuka.
I remember. Ogundo sat apart, listening.
Finally, he understood, his mother's songs weren't spells. They were love, love for land, for children, for memory itself. He knelt before Mayurla.
Not as a general. As a son. Teach me the lullaby.
Tukam Bo, she asked.
Do you remember?
Botuka, he replied.
I remember. She sang.
He followed, off-key but earnest, reclaiming a lost piece of his soul. Later, Daniel found Mayurla gazing at the stars. Do you hate them, he asked. Those who silenced you, she shook her head.
Hate is heavy. I'd rather remember.
Remember what? My mother's first lesson, words are reseeds. Buried deep, they still grow. She pulled a banana from her pocket, laid it on the cart. Tomorrow, I'll sell again.
She smiled.
But this time, I'll tell them, these bananas were grown in Ekuru. The wind ride the scent of soil and green things.
Somewhere, voices seemed to whisper back, Kulam Bom Botuka.
Golden sunlight spilled over the rain-washed earth as Mayurla's banana cart gleamed at the village entrance. A red cloth fluttered from its handle. Each banana bunch bore a handmade tag in Lila's crooked writing, Ikuru protected bananas grown by Grandma, the singing fruit. Mayurla sat beside it, glasses perched on her nose, teaching Lila to count in Ikuru, Bieri, Tare, Ne. The girl giggled at the strange sounds while Kian sketched sound pictures in the dirt with a stick. No one noticed the UNMA Ked Melita Jeep rolling up. General Ogundo stepped out, no uniform, just a faded shirt and old khakis, a canvas bag slung over his shoulder. He walked softly, like someone returning to a dream. Then he froze under the old banana tree. Mayurla was singing The Little Banana Ripens, her voice weathered but wrapping around him like soil after rain. This wasn't a recording. This was his mother's song, reborn in another woman's throat after 60 years. He approached the cart grandmother. May I buy a banana? Mayurla looked up, recognized him.
2 shillings. Ogundo handed her 10.
She didn't give change, just passed him the fruit. Keep it. You returned our cart. And our justice.
I'm not here for justice, he said, peeling the banana. I'm here for memory.
He took a bite, closed his eyes.
Sweet.
Earthy.
Just like my mother's.
Mayurla stiffened.
Your mother knew bananas, how to pick them.
She said ripe ones have smile lines, the earth laughing. Mayurla's breath caught. In Ekuru, banana cracks were called tuma, the earth's smile.
What was her name? Asha. Asha Wanyu. Ogundo's hands shook.
How do you tars streaked Mayurla's cheeks?
Asha was my cousin.
We grew up together, Leah Renet Ekuru together, then Shima ride north, vanished. Ogundo sank to his knees. This village was his mother's home. This old woman was his aunt. Auntie, he pressed his forehead to the dirt.
I didn't know.
Mayurla lifted him, cradling his face like a child's.
You're home.
In the council hall, Professor Daniel flipped through his 1963 notes. Mayurla Wenyu, born 1947, Father Wenyu Lo, 3 sisters, Asha Maride Warrior Kaeru Ogundo. He looked up.
Your father was Kaeru Ogundo. Ogundo nodded.
Killed at the border.
I never met him.
Daniel's voice cracked. Your blood.
Ekuru is your Shah red vein. Ogundo turned to Mayurla.
Auntie, after they exiled mother, she died ashamed.
Singing that song till the end. And I tried to forget it. Mayra gripped his hands. Language isn't shame. It's roots. You forgot yours, so your soul floated. Now it's led you back. Ogundo opened his bag, revealing a rusted tin box. Inside a faded photo of young Asha holding a baby under a banana tree. All she left. Mayra traced her cousin's face. She was 20 when they called her mad, just for refusing to stop speaking Ekuru. Silence. Only TRS. Then engines ROA read outside. Military police hauled in the district chief and his thugs in chains. Guilty of graft, land theft, oppression, the officer announced. All seized lands returned. Villagers cheered. The 3 patrolmen who'd stolen Mayra's cart crawled to her feet, sobbing. Forgive us. She handed each a banana. Take these to your mothers. Tell them it's not witch fruit. It's peace fruit. That night, villagers brought maize cakes, bean stew, grilled fish. Around the bonfire, children begged Mayra to sing. She began the chain of kin and Ekuru ballad of blood ties. Ogundo sat beside her, stumbling through the words, each syllable stitching 60 years of wounds. Daniel recorded every note, not just a song, but living history. Kian signed the lyrics, making kids laugh. Lila livestreamed, my grandma found her general cousin. Views exploded, this is Africa's real story. Protect Grandma Mayra. Her language is beautiful. The general's a hero. Late into the night, Ogundo stood alone on a hilltop, STA ring at the STARS. Mayra joined him, handing him herbal tea. Your mother's favorite. For wa RMTH. Auntie, what else can I do? She gazed at the village. The language is dying. When I'm gone, who'll teach it? Ogundo pulled out his military sat phone, dialed the high command. This is General Ogundo. Initiate culture shield, not combat, but language rescue. 3 directives. 1, designate no village a heritage site. Fund teachers. 2, add indigenous culture to military training. Let soldiers know what they defend. 3, I'll establish the Ekuru Revival Fund. Personal contribution. A long pause. Then, approved. General, you're not just requesting. You're waking a nation's memory. Wind stilled. Night deepened. Mayra played her bone flute on the hill. Beside her, Ogundo practiced Ekuru greetings. Tuka Mbo, do you remember? Mbo Tuka. I remember. The morning sun didn't just light up the EARTH anymore, it lit up something new. Mayra's banana cart still stood at the village entrance, but now with a hand-painted sign in Swahili. English, an Ekuru cultural spot, bananas for sale, stories for listening, songs for learning. The village breathed differently now. No more Fia R. No more whispers. Just cautious, curious awakening. Lila didn't go to school. Not because she skipped, but because all schools closed. For 3 days. By order of the Education Ministry, all teachers and students to report to no village for indigenous language immersion. So here they came, 20 teachers, 100 kids, rattling in on rusty school buses. Not to gawk. To Leah RN. Under the old banana tree, Mayra stood before them. Children, she began in Swahili, do you know banana in Ekuru blank sta res luma? But it's not just a word. It's a story, short for Luma Tara, meaning gift from the EARTH. We don't eat bananas. We accept the EARTH's smile. Eyes widened. This wasn't a lesson. It was magic. Lila took over, live streaming, Grandma says every plant has a name, and every name has a song. Like Kiba, bitterroot. Its song teaches when to dig, how to boil, when to harvest. A teacher raised her hand. Can this go in textbooks? Mayra chuckled. Why not you teach photosynthesis? We taught it in a song, that was our science. Nay RBY, Professor Daniel nodded fiercely, negotiating with ministry officials to weave Ekuru rhymes into the local wisdom curriculum. Ogundo kept his word. Culture shield rolled out fast. Week 1, Arame engineers fixed the landslide blocked road.
Week 2, a solar-powered mobile culture truck arrived, stacked with recorders, projectors, bilingual books. Week 3, 2 young linguists moved in, documenting Emeirla's words, songs, stories. But the bombshell Ogundo's national order, all 32 military bases will host monthly heritage days.
Soldiers must learn local languages, songs, customs.
On TV, Ogundo Dekle read, "We gua RD this land not just with guns, but with knowing how can you protect soil you don't understand." The country buzzed. Elders from other tribes stepped forward. "We have dying tongues too. We want to teach." Online, #My Mother Tongue trended. Grandmother's Zulu lullabies, Father's House of Folktales. A quiet revolution had begun. Even those skeptics shifted. Teens who'd mocked backway RD talk now whispered, "Grandma, teach me Akuru." My Nairobi boss's Luo might impress him. Chief Eru officially renamed the village Lumatiara, land of EARTH's gifts. He formed a culture patrol, med not with guns, but recorders, preserving elders' oral histories. Most shocking, Pastor Joseph. At Sunday service, he stepped down from the pulpit. "I called Ekuru devil's tongue. I was wrong. God made Babel not for silence, but diversity. True faith doesn't erase the past, it embraces all voices." He bowed to Emeirla. "Teach me morning call, let it open our worship." Tars glistened in Emeirla's eyes as she nodded. The deaf boy became an unlikely language teacher. His sound drawing showed kids how to see Ekuru's rhythms. For tongue clicks, like rain. Wavy line for long notes, like wind. Circle for pauses, like breath. Children crowded around him, mesmerized. Daniel watched, awed. Kian's system could bridge African Sign Language and oral tradition. He secured Kian a scholarship to a special needs school and vowed to include sound drawings in textbooks. Live streaming wasn't enough for Lila. She rallied village kids into mother tongue guardians, tackling 3 missions. Record 1 Ekuru phrase from Grandma Daily. Film mini lessons teaching greetings, thanks, I remember. Design culture banana packaging, each bunch tagged with a rhyme. Will show the world, Lila told her followers, Africa isn't just are in poverty. We have songs. Stories. Pride. Her clips went viral. National TV aired one titled 12-year-old saves heritage with her phone. Yet Emeirla wasn't all joy. One night, she confided in Daniel, "This feels like mushrooms after rain, quick to sprout, quicker to die." Daniel understood. Cultural revival isn't a storm. It's a tree. You'll live to see it grow. Emeirla gazed out the window. Moonlight silvered her banana cart. From its handle hung wind chimes, Lila's craft of soda cans and bone flute. RDS when breezes stirred, they chimed like distant singing. "I'm old," Emeirla whispered. "But as long as someone listens, I'll speak." On the final day, as buses prepared to leave, Lila taught the students one last phrase, "Tukumbo, do you remember?" Windows down, 100 little hands waved, chanting, "Tukumbo Tukumbo." The voices faded down the road, but the seeds were sown. Emeirla stood watching till dust swallowed the buses. Then she turned, gripped her cart, and headed to Marquette. Lila jogged up. Selling bananas. Today, Grandma, yes, Emeirla smiled. But today, I'll tell them, she patted a bunch lovingly. These were grown with remembering. The rains had slipped away, leaving behind the dry wind sweeping over Mount Elgon. In no village, now known to everyone as Lumatiara, the air no longer smelled just of EARTH and smoke. There was something new in it now, something faint but unmistakable. Hope. Emeirla's banana cart still stood at the village entrance every morning, but it wasn't just a cart anymore. It was a symbol. Proof that an old woman's songs could reclaim dignity. But Emeirla soon realized, her bananas weren't just bananas now. People didn't buy them for fruit. They bought them for the story. Lila's mother tongue guardians designed new packaging. They dyed cotton sacks with plant-based inks, stamping them with Ekuru symbols. Each bunch of bananas came wrapped in one, labeled Luma, gift of the EARTH, grown traditionally by Grandma. Emeirla includes one Ekuru lullaby. The first batch sold out in minutes at the town market. One for me. My daughters Leah Rening Ekuru. 3. I'm sending these to Nairobi, the bananas that sing. A tour company owner bought the entire stock. These go in our cultural experience gift boxes. Emeirla was baffled. Same bananas. Why the rush? Lila grinned. Grandma, we're not selling fruit.
We're selling stories.
Mayra froze. She'd spent her life growing bananas, knowing when to fertilize, how to fend off pests, which bunches were ripe. But today, for the first time, she understood her ordinary life was an epic no one had ever heroed. Demand exploded.
Mayra couldn't keep up alone. At a village meeting, Shiferu Dekle read, "This isn't just grandma's work. Culture bananas belong to all of us." So the Lumatiara Cultural Ecological Cooperativa was born. Members: Mayra, Honora Rechair, Shiferu, Director, Lila, Youth Representative. Kian, Cultural Archivist, 20 Fa Remaining Families. Rules: all bananas grown traditionally, no pesticides, no artificial ripening. 10% of profits fund Ikuru preservation. Families rotate shifts at the cultural kiosk, telling one Ikuru story per visitor. News spread fast. The East African Times headline: A Grandmother's Song Spa Arke Village Revival. National TV filmed Bananas and Lost Tongues, a documentary. Cultural foundations offered grants to build an Ikuru heritage hut, a classroom, recording studio, and tiny museum. The three ex-patrolmen who'd once stolen Mayra's CART now hauled bananas for the co-op. No more camouflage. They wore blue shirts stamped Lumatiara Guardians, loading crates before dawn. The tall one Joe found Mayra alone one evening, voice shaking, "Grandma, we're sorry. Let us repay you with our hands." Mayra studied his calloused palms, remembering how they'd crushed her fruit. Now, he cradled a banana. "Bunch like a newborn. People air," she said. "But it's never too late to mend." She handed him a special sack. "For your mother. Not payment. Peace." Joe knelt, weeping. In church, Pastor Joseph held up a culture banana. "Brothers, sisters," he said, "we thought holiness lived only in scripture. But I've Leah Rened, it's in the soil. In old songs. In this humble fruit." He peeled it, Shah ring slices. Grandma Mayra says in Ikuru, eating isn't consumption. It's kulambo, the ritual of remembering. We eat not just to fill bellies, but to recall who grew us. Where we're rooted. The congregation sat stunned. An elder woman whispered, "My mother sang such songs. I'd forgotten." Joseph announced, "After every service now, Mother Tongue Hour. Bring a story. Sing a song." Ogundo's Heritage Days spread Erme-wide. Soldiers Leah Rened local languages, sang ancestral songs, even chanted drills in Ikuru, Tukam Bombo Tuka. Remember I. Remember. Then came the bombshell. The military adopted Lumatiara troops took shifts volunteering, mending fences, digging irrigation ditches, packing bananas. No uniforms. No guns. Just canteens and straw hats. One private told Mayra, "Grandma, back home, my grandma sang like you. I never listened. Now I know it wasn't gibberish. It was home." Mayra taught him the little banana tree. His off-key attempts made everyone laugh. Ba Ryers melted that day, between soldier and civilian, officer and elder. Professor Daniel arranged an exhibition in Nairobi for key and sound drawings. Char coal and berry paint symbols covered the walls. Dots for tongue clicks, rain, waves for held notes, rivers, circles for pauses, mountains. Each piece had a QR code linking to Ikuru audio. The show's title, He Ring the Unhie Road. At the opening, a deaf school principal gasped, "We're adopting this. Our students will hear ancestors through ART." Kian signed to the crowd, "I'm no artist. I just want the world to know silence can be loud." Late one evening, Mayra sat outside, watching co-op lights flicker. Workers packed bananas. Lila proofread Ikuru lyrics. Kian sketched new symbols in the dirt. She played her bone flute, the EARTH mother's lullaby. Daniel approached quietly. Mayra. UNESCO just named Lumatiara a global model for saving endangered languages. She didn't answer. Just smiled. Gazing at the stars, she asked the sky, or perhaps her mother. "Do you see our tongue didn't die? It's writing the scent of bananas, all the way to tomorrow?" Lumatiara village at the foot of Mount Elgon was no longer just a forgotten dot on the map. It had become a cultural landmark, not just for Kenya, but for all of East Africa. A smooth tarmac road now wound into the village, marked by a wooden sign in Ikuru, Swahili, and English. "Welcome to Lumatiara, where language woke up." At the village entrance, the old banana tree still stood, its trunk thicker, its leaves casting shade over a small round stone hut, the Ikuru house.
Inside, one wall was a recording studio, another a reading nook, and at the center, a projection screen looped footage of a young Emeirla singing. And Emeirla herself, she sat outside in a cane chair, silver hair neatly braided, reading glasses perched on her nose as she flipped through a thick book, the newly printed Ekura Dictionary, edited by her granddaughter, Lila.
"Grandma! It's here!"
Lila burst out of the culture house, waving a bright yellow book.
On the cover, a young Emeirla, smiling.
The title, the Lumatiara Language Dictionary, a living tongue, a people's memory. Emeirla took the book, running her fingers over the cover like it was a child's face. She opened to the first page.
The first entry: definition, a greeting used to awaken memory, affirm identity. Spoken.
At reunions, ancestor rites, and lessons. She smiled, the wrinkles around her eyes like riverbeds filled with light. How many copies? 5,000. The Ministry of Education is putting them in every primary school.
Lila beamed.
And German and Japanese publishers want translations.
Emeirla nodded.
She didn't need the whole world to know Ekuru. She just didn't want another child punished for speaking their mother tongue. A military jeep rolled into the village.
Out stepped General Agundo, retired now, but still straight-backed.
No rifle slung over his shoulder, just a canvas bag stuffed with his grandson's homework.
The boy was learning Ekuru lullabies. "Auntie."
He knelt, taking Emeirla's hands like he had 5 years ago.
"I brought him. He wants to hear you sing."
Emeirla studied the 6-year-old, her eyes crinkling.
"Come, sit with Grandma."
She read her throat and sang the little banana tree. The boy listened, rapt, humming. Along. Ogundo's eyes glistened. This song, once his only comfort, was now his grandson's lullaby. "Auntie," he murmured, 17 endangered languages nationwide have launched revival programs. "Your story," it lit the spa RK.
Emeirla shook her head. "Not my story. The land's.
I just didn't let it rot in the soil." Inside the Ekuru house, Kian, no longer a boy but a young man, taught children to hear Ekuru through sign language. On the wall hung his evolved sound drawings, now merged with international sign symbols, a full visual language system. A girl signed, "Teacher Kian, Wylia RN invisible sounds." He signed back, "Some sounds, I see are better than EARS." Grandma's songs re the shape of wind, the rhythm of here beats the path ancestors walk. We listen not to speak but to remember, who we are. The children fell silent, eyes alight. The Lumatiara Cultural Ecological Co-op had grown to 300 families. Their culture bananas now sold in Nairobi, Mombasa, even Rwanda and Uganda. Each bunch came with an Ekuru phrase and a QR code linking to Emeirla or Lila's voice. Proudest of all, the co-op had built a village culture hub with language classrooms, elder wellness clinics, youth STA incubators. Chief Eru told reporters, "We're not the forgotten village anymore. We're the remembering one." At the church, a unique wedding unfolded. The bride, Lila's childhood friend. The groom, a boy from the next village.
When Pastor Joseph closed the ceremony, he didn't say amen.
He sang the Chain of Kin, the ancient Ekuru ballad Emeirla had taught them all. Guests, believers or not, stood and joined in. Instead of rings, the couple exchanged wooden tokens. Vedwith. At dusk, Emeirla sat by her door, watching the sun stain the mountain red. She walked with a cane now, but her gaze was still clear. Lila approached.
"Grandma, national TV wants to film the banana grandmother. What's your message for the young?" Emeirla looked at her banana grove, silent for a long moment. Leaves rustled, like whispers. Then, softly, "Don't fear or growing old. Don't fear or being poor. Don't fear or being called outdated. If you remember, if you still speak, if you dare to sing for dignity, then you're not alone. The wind will carry your voice, the road will keep your footprints, and the earth will always answer those who ask, do you remember?" Lila, TRS streaming, recorded it. By morning, #Grandmama's last lesson trended across Africa. In a Kenyan classroom, a teacher asked, "What does Tukumbo mean?" The children chorused, "Do you remember?" "Yes." "And do you?" "Yes." Outside, wind stirred the banana trees. As if someone, somewhere, was still humming. That song no longer belonged to one woman, one village, or even one people. It belonged to all who refused to forget.